Okay, so my second stop on Free RPG Day was at Victory Comics in Falls Church. I think that's correct, Falls Church. And things that I picked up there. So I got the most important thing to me, which was the Goodman Games item. I got that at my first stop. But I also was really curious about this Avatar Legends, the role-playing game, for a couple of reasons. One, I really enjoyed the Avatar cartoon, and I know that that's like an unusual take. You know, not a lot of people, doesn't have a big fan base or anything. So I really enjoyed it, though, you know, that obscure animated show. And I was curious about an RPG for it, and I can't remember, but I feel like this uses like Powered by the Apocalypse or something like that, which is a system I have talked about somewhat at length, and my feelings about it, which are confused. But this is Movers and Shakers, which I'm assuming is the adventure name, and the Quick Start booklet. Korra era. Oh, okay, that's interesting. I have not watched Korra. I started watching it, got sidetracked, never got back into it, and I want to go back and finish it at some point. Here is the back. See if this shows up on the old camera. And yeah. Some credits. I don't know if this is going to show up. That looks a little bit small. Let's see. Booklet has two sections. The first is a guide and primer on your full rules of Avatar Legends, the role-playing game. Here you'll find the adventure and tools you need to play through a couple sessions of the game. But if you want to extend your game, you should look into the full core book. The focus of this section is to get you playing as quickly as possible. Great. So the other reason that I was somewhat interested in this is that I may have an opportunity to play it at some point coming up. So I figured I would try to take a look at the Quick Start rules. It's got nice full color. It's a heavy book. For a free RPG Day book, it's pretty hefty. Which is actually true about the Sword of the Serpentine book as well. So it's not glossy pages, but it's nice thick paper. This looks like maybe images from the cartoon. I'm assuming it's not original art. I'm assuming it's stills from the cartoon, but I don't know. At some point, I will watch Korra. I do want to check it out. I really liked Avatar. I am a big fan of old 60s and 70s martial arts movies, and I remember watching Avatar the first time, and the fact that like I could recognize forms in the animation. I was really impressed by how well they animated. I know that's not the only thing. It also had a really good story and good voice acting, but I thought it was really impressive how they animated the actual like forms of martial arts, which I thought was very cool. Yeah, Earthbending, that's probably my favorite. Earthbending just clicks more in my brain. Yeah, that's right. And I know Korra has like I feel like Korra has more of a weird techie vibe. You know, like Magitech. But again, I didn't really watch very much of it. And this looks like, yeah, looks like a bunch of pre-generated characters at the back. I may be wrong, but the adventure in here looks pretty small. Movers and Shakers. Well, page 34 to... Well, page 35 to page 48, so that's not so bad. Yep. That's that. Up next is from Free League, the Dragonbane Quick Start Guide. Here's some stuff on the back. That doesn't seem like it's going to show up, but maybe it will. So from what I understand, Dragonbane was based on maybe RuneQuest 2nd edition or something like that, or inspired by or something like that. And it was popular in Europe for a long time. That's my understanding of it. I did not read deeply into it. But I do believe it is a D100 game, which, you know, I I like. Oh, I could be wrong. It does say you need a D4 through a D20, but I don't know. Anyway, I like Basic Role Playing, which was the RuneQuest game, and I believe this has some of Basic Role Playing's DNA in it. I believe that is the case. And it's got some cool art. Everybody craps on, what is it, 3rd edition D&D's art, but I actually liked a lot of 3rd edition D&D's art, and this kind of reminds me a little bit of that, although it's also got its own thing going on. It reminds me a little bit of early 90s, no, I would say mid-90s Games Workshop art. So melee combat, range, so it's got some rules. I'm assuming it doesn't have character creation. I wasn't really paying attention as I flipped through. Some monsters, great, magic. Looks like maybe magic is, oh no, magic is in here. So it's cool, there's a little map in here. It's nice that it's on the fold, so you can pluck it out if you wanted to, or lay flat if you wanted to keep it in the book, do some copies or whatever you want to do. And I like that there's nothing on the back side of it. So if you really had some desire to do this for some reason, and you wanted to take it out and laminate it, or this looks like it would probably come out to 11 by 17. I think I have some 11 by 17 plastic sheaths for posters. So, that might work. Anyway, thinking out loud here. Spells. Okay, Riddle Mound. This, I'm assuming, is the adventure. Yes. Designed for a quick introduction to Dragonbane and its rules. So, cool. Giant spider, that's cool. I think this game has ducks. Again, wearing, oh, that is a very short adventure. They weren't kidding. So, page 26 to page 34, with a lot of illustrations, some maps, and some charts. So, this looks like a real quick, which I guess makes sense if it's using this map. There's not a lot to that map either. So, okay. We have some characters with art on the back. That's cool. That's very cool. Yeah. Ducks. So, anyway, I don't know a ton about Dragonbane. I think my friend Robert, I believe, is picking it up, so I may check it out with him at some point. Cool. Looks cool. And let's see. Next. Oh, yeah. We have Root. Every year they put something for Root in Free RPG Day, and I just never have the space in my pulls to get it. So this year, lo and behold, I had room to grab one, and I got this. Hacksaw Dell Quick Start Root, the role-playing game. I've been very interested about this. I have now, thanks in large part to my wife, I now have a lot of people in my circle of friends who have kids, who are having kids, and those kids are going to grow up, and I am going to be their nerdy, friendly, not uncle, but might as well be, because theoretically I should be around, and I would like to introduce the kids to gaming at some point if their parents allow them to be nerds, and since many of our friends are also nerds, I imagine that will not be a problem. So I want to have the ability to have some more all-ages friendly or close to all-ages friendly games. So Root is one that I am curious about. I've heard very positive buzz about it. They've put out, like I said, something for a Free RPG Day, I think every year that I've been doing it, I think. I don't know much about the game. This is the first time I've scored anything, but I want to check it out. And then, let's see, my last Free RPG thing. Oh, yeah, so talk about filling out some stuff. This was the Adventures in Rokugan, Storm Eel's Rest. And this is, who's even putting out Legend of the Five Rings? Edge Studio, I think. Yeah. Oh, it says 5th edition fantasy. So Oh, and Fantasy Flight's on there. So did they do a 5e version of this? I have not followed. I have the original hardcover of Legend of the Five Rings. I've never picked up another item for Legend of the Five Rings in all my days. And I don't know the state of it. I didn't play the card game back when that was coming out. I never actually played the RPG. I had some friends who did, and they really liked it. I am not especially interested in Japanese culture or Japanese fantasy or Americanized versions of Japanese culture in fantasy. I'm not, none of that is really my particular bag. I think Michael Dudikoff's American Ninja was the last time I really cared about any of that. But that said, you know, it's a game that's been around for a long time. People seem to like it. I figured I'd give it a look. Why not? Sure. It's got some cool, it looks like your PCs are a little more fantastical than I remember. I knew that like a couple of the clans in this were pretty over the top, but this looks like some full-on, you know, my goodness, you're playing an ogre or something, a fish person. That's crazy. Okay, so no idea. Absolutely no idea, but I figured why not? I'll give it a read through, and who knows, I might have some other people who are into that. And then, because I needed to pick something up, and I actually kind of had a hard time finding, it's not true, they had stuff, but I was on a bit of a budget, and it went from what I picked up, and like the next closest thing was like 4 times this cost, at least, so I just grabbed the Call of Cthulhu scenario, The Shadow over Providence, by John Hook and Matt Ryan. I've seen this kicking around for a while, but I know nothing about it. I haven't seen, you know, I don't think Seth Skorkowski or XP Lovecat have reviewed it, so I don't know. Here's the back. I don't know if that's showing up. It looks pretty rough, but if you can see it and you want to read the back, you can. Simple. Okay. So yeah, don't know anything about it, but I figured I'd grab it. It was, I can always use more Call of Cthulhu scenarios. I want to get into running this more often, and at some point, I think there's some stuff maybe about Annihilate the Depth in this, and who knows, maybe I can use it as some kind of tie-in to Mask Annihilate the Depth. That's always what in the back of my head, I think, if I ever actually run that game. Shadow over Providence was originally written to celebrate the Necronomicon Providence 2019 convention held in the former Biltmore Hotel, Providence, Rhode Island. The Milton Hotel, described herein, is loosely based on the Biltmore, now the Graduate Providence. Oh, Graduate Providence. Anyway, the scenario is set in the summer of 1928, 6 years after construction of the hotel was completed. It is designed for 1 keeper and up to 3 players, but more players can easily be accommodated. Players may use the pre-generated investigators provided with this scenario. Yes, thank you. Always provide pre-generated characters with your scenarios. Or create their own using the rules from either the Call of Cthulhu starter set or the core Call of Cthulhu rulebook. Swell. I just want to take a look at these characters. Oh, yes! Yes! They are full character sheets, too. I'm not a big fan of the ones that Chaosium sometimes puts in where they are like character sheet highlights. They usually have really nice art and a really nice background, but the actual useful information for the scenario is not always there, including all the skills. I ran into that when I was running, it was the little mini campaign, something about the ice or something. I can't remember. Anyway, I ran it. We were using the pre-generated characters, and the pre-generated characters only had the sample information, and it wasn't great. Anyway, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. We've got hotel maps. The heist, ooh. The aftermath, so, okay. Oh, wow, so this is actually also quite a short scenario, it looks like. got some stuff for some handouts. But yeah, this looks like a pretty short one, but that's fine. You know, it was also inexpensive. I like the characters alone would be handy. I could see just photocopying these and using them for, you know, any other 1920s set scenario, and having more character sheets like that, you know, pre-generated characters is always super handy. Anyway, I'll try to give this a read at some point coming up, and I'm sure I'll write a review or something. If you enjoyed this video at all, one, check out Free RPG Day if anybody in your area runs it. If nobody in your area runs it, reach out and try to get them to do it. That can be a real challenge. Boy, howdy can it. But if you enjoyed this, check out the links below. You can support me by joining me on Patreon or buy me a coffee if you don't like commitment or anything like that. Check out my author page. Do whatever you want. And, you know, just like and subscribe if that's all. I mean, it doesn't cost anything except time, which is really precious. So, I don't know. Maybe you don't want to do that. It's up to you. That's it for me for right now. I have no idea when this is going to post. I'm recording it on Free RPG Day 2023. It's not going to post today, though. It'll probably be sometime next month. I don't know. Anyway, take care. Have a good day. Or do whatever you want. I'm not telling you how to live.